Guys, this is a review of We Bury the Dead, and just a heads up, there will be spoilers, so consider yourselves warned. First of all, it's important to make one thing very clear. This movie is not really about zombies. Yes, there are zombies in the film, but if you're expecting a traditional zombie movie with constant attacks, hordes, and chaos, you're probably going to be disappointed. That's because this film is not about survival in the usual sense. It's about grief, loss, and closure. You won't see massive zombie outbreaks or shocking, violent deaths. Instead, the story follows a woman who travels across Tasmania for one single reason: to find the body of her husband. And that alone tells you what kind of movie this really is. What genuinely surprised me is how innovative the premise actually is. The zombies in this film are not the result of a virus, demonic possession, voodoo, or anything supernatural. The cause is an experimental government weapon that induces brain death, and some of the people who die simply come back. That idea is honestly brilliant. It feels fresh, grounded, and different from what we're used to seeing in the genre. It gives the film a more realistic and unsettling foundation, at least on paper. And this is where the frustration begins. Because with this premise, this setting, and this atmosphere, We Bury the Dead had everything it needed to become a modern zombie classic. The landscapes are beautiful. The cinematography is excellent. The tone is quiet, melancholic, and serious. The characters are also surprisingly grounded. They don't behave like action heroes. There's no exaggerated bravery, no constant one-liners, no unrealistic competence, aside from one wild-haired guy. And let's be honest, there's always one in every movie. For the most part, these feel like real people dealing with trauma and loss. There are no super-powered zombies, no alpha variants, nothing flashy to cheapen the story. And that's a huge positive. In fact, the film gets almost everything right from a technical and conceptual standpoint. But where it ultimately fails is in delivering what many people still expect from a zombie film: fear and tension. The movie lacks true horror. The scenes don't scare you, not even once. And I'm not saying it needed constant jump scares or non-stop action. It didn't need to be World War Z levels of chaos. But something closer to Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead, even in small doses, would have made a massive difference. A bit more danger, a bit more pressure. A moment where you genuinely feel that the characters are not safe. Because let's be honest, a movie built around zombies should scare you at least one time. At some point, the tension just fades, and the film becomes emotionally distant rather than unsettling. You understand what it wants to say, but you don't always feel it. One interesting thought I had while watching is that this movie could almost work as a loose continuation of 28 Weeks Later, if it had more aggressive zombie behavior and was set in the UK instead of Tasmania. The environments, the emptiness, and even the way the story is introduced feel very similar. So in the end, We Bury the Dead is not a bad film. It's actually a good film in many ways. Just don't go in expecting a traditional zombie experience. Watch it as a slow, reflective story about loss, not as a horror movie meant to scare you. Keep your expectations in check, watch it with an open mind, and draw your own conclusions. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more. This channel is focused on horror, from movies to original stories of my own. Thanks again for the support.